All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to All Things Division III Soccer with Simple Coach and Jackie. I am Simple Coach, and snoring away is Jackie, right there. So we got a ton of information to cover today. I got a ton of just little tidbits of information. Some good, some sad news, I think. I want to run through the top 25s and have some color there, but I also want to throw in some stats on who the leading goal scorers are, who are the leading assist makers, and then goalkeepers. Just figure I'd throw out some names and get some folks a little bit of recognition. So I'm excited for it. It's a lot. So here we go. Okay, so as can be expected, there's a lot of stuff going on, especially considering that we're approaching the end of the season. So, right, tournament pictures are getting a little bit clear. Teams are winning their regular season conferences. So I've just been trying to collect some information here and there, just again, mostly on Twitter where I see it. I try to capture it, and I have a few. So shout out to the men's teams for Rhodes College and Sewanee, or University of the South. They are the Southern Athletic Association Conference regular season co-champs. From what I gather, because the head-to-head Rhodes had won, I believe, had beaten Sewanee, that Rhodes will get the higher seed. But nonetheless, they are regular season champs going into their conference tournament. Hey, and look at this. Congratulations to the women's team at Sewanee, University of the South. I'm thinking a hat. There's something there. I'm thinking a Sewanee hat might be in order. They are the Southern Athletic Association regular season champs as well. They are not sharing it with anyone. On to the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin, the CCIW. North Central, who is having a banger of a season, our regular season champs for the first time, I think, since 1994. On the women's side, Illinois Wesleyan won its second consecutive CCIW regular season championship. So congratulations to all of them. That's just fantastic. I put weight again. I know the seedings for the home field advantage for the conference tournaments is in play, but I something to be said about the regular season, right? The day in and day grind. Really outstanding to all of those teams. Okay, so I don't get into the debate around the NCAA, its relative worth to Division I versus Division III, and all that stuff. To me, some of it speaks louder than words, but well, who am I, right? Yeah, it's pretty clear that the NCAA values its money-making behemoths that are Division I football and basketball, and by and large, at a lot of schools, most of those programs pay for it at the Division I level, pay for all the other sports at the Division I level. And that sort of thing doesn't really happen at the Division III level, and except in some instances, I'm sure, right? Mount Union does really well as a result of the football program, so that's fair. But as it relates to the NCAA, it's not a debate for me to have. I just don't know enough. But so I was tooling around and I thought, oh, wow, let me take a look at the NCAA.com websites for Division I men's and women's, Division II men's and women's. And so I thought I would just, or Division III men's and women's. And so I thought I would just show them, and then you make up your mind as to how the NCAA treats Division I versus Division III, and go from there. So first up, look at that. Washington University, or University of Washington, remains number one in the latest United Soccer polls. You know, you can watch number one Washington men's soccer remaining unbeaten with a late goal versus Oregon State. You can find the 11 best places to watch college soccer, which are all Division I schools, by the way, according to the fans. And early on, you could have done the college soccer storylines and postseason predictions. That's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's up to date. See the Huskies defeat Stanford, latest scores. Now for the women, UNC. UNC is not a basketball school. It's a women's soccer school. So look at that. They held off number 4 Florida State to take their share of first place in the ACC. One of the best conferences out there for soccer, men's and women's. It's funny how all three of those, now that I'm looking at it, all reflect the same storyline. And then there's the 11 best places to watch a game. So, wow, it's kind of sort of up to date, although they're just using the same things. So then I was like, hey, Division III, this has got to be. There's some great storylines. I mean, some cool places to watch. I mean, if you watch the Tufts game against, who was it? Bowdoin? I forget who. Just the other day. Fans, they were all into it. It's pretty cool. Different level, different scale. So let's take a look at the Division I. Oh, look at that. Connecticut College wins program's first Division III men's soccer championship. And look, you can see the replay from the 2021 Division III men's soccer championship, Amherst versus Connecticut College. Oh, but hey, look, you can go to Kerr Stadium in Salem, Virginia to watch the men's soccer final December 1st and the 3rd this year. And if you wanted to, you could follow them on social media. And now fourth, Division III women's. Look at that. Amazing. Christopher Newport defeats TCNJ to win its first national title in program history. And you could catch the recap still. And yeah, I know, story on TCNJ. And then sure enough, you can watch the women's soccer championship December 2nd through the 4th at Kerr Stadium in Salem, Virginia. I report, you decide. Okay, so for those of you who are, hang on a second. For those of you who are wondering, my deck is still not finished. But 2 patios that are part of this whole master plan are, well, one is done. The other one is half done. So and then I have 2 other patios that I have to make. It's pretty grandiose. So, but I keep plugging away. Okay, this is really serious, and I think it's worthy of mentioning. I into politics or not, it doesn't matter. I'm sure everyone feels the same price increases at the gas pump and food and, generally all that stuff you pay for. I mean, I know I have. And when you live in the Garden State like I do, that sort of thing, along with property taxes, have just gotten astronomical. And so every place where I can either save a dime or, price doesn't go up, I almost think I'm just, I have to have this attitude of gratitude all the time. Otherwise, I go back to drinking, and that's not a good thing. So I want to reach out and I want to say thank you to the University of Rochester for not raising the prices to watch their games online. In case you were worried about it, it still remains $5.95 a game. So, and an update, because I want to do this in fairness with the University of Paywall. Just as an update, I just learned that when I had said that the University of Rochester, their endowment, they were 29th in the country, world, in terms of size of endowment. I have just learned that the numbers have updated, and I mean, just hold on to your hats. They dropped a spot to 30th. But wait, do not fret and fear not. Always be brave. Their endowment is no longer at $2.4 billion. The latest numbers I have show it at a mere $3.2 billion. So, with that, I am going to jump on to do the top 25 women's teams across this great land. Some crazy jumping around here. So, okay, so here we are. Women's top 25. Okay, so at 25, down 3 spots, Bowdoin at 9-4-1. They had a loss to Wesleyan at home, and then they close out Tuesday against a Tufts team. That'll be pretty. I mean, that's a game for the ages right there. Number 24, Williams, 9-3-2. They're down 3 spots as well, lost to Trinity. They play their big season finale on Tuesday against Middlebury. So really, I mean, the whole NESCAC is just shaping up to be crazy on both the men's and women's side. So I won't keep saying, oh my gosh, because it's just going to happen. 23, Puget Sound, 12-3-1, up 1 spot. They beat Lewis and Clark. And then they have a big test on Wednesday when they face Pacific Lutheran. So that should be really interesting. Middlebury at 10-3-1. They're up 1. They tied away at Tufts. That was a pretty good game. So they close out against Williams. So that should be, like I said, a cracker of a game for the NESCAC. 21, University of Scranton, 12-1, up 4. Huge win at Susquehanna. And I actually think, based on what their schedule is, they should go 14-2-1 to enter the conference tournament. 20th, Virginia Wesleyan, 11-2-2, is in the same spot as last week. They had a win against Randolph. Oops, sorry. A lot of stuff going on. Okay, 19th, Babson. They're 10-3-1. They're down 1 spot. Their next game is on Wednesday against WPI, who I like. Number 18, Pomona Pitzer at 9-2-3, down 6 spots. They lost to Cal Lutheran. I think it was 2-0. So rough week. Number 17, Tufts, 9-3-2, down 2 spots. They tied Middlebury, and again, they're up against Bowdoin on Tuesday. So a lot will shuffle out after that. Number 16, Trinity of Texas, 15-0-1. You know, despite the weaker schedule that I've mentioned before, they keep winning. They took care of business against Dallas University and St. Thomas. So that amounts to something in my book. Okay, number 15, Emory, 11-2, up 4. They keep winning as well. I will say this weekend, is make or break for them. Well, not make or break, but it'll be very, it'll be, it'll determine a lot going forward. They go on the road to face Carnegie Mellon and Case Western Reserve. So that is going to be one heck of a road trip. So you know what? If they can get one out of that, I might even just, if they get one win out of that, I think they could jump up pretty significantly just based on that one. So number 14. Speak of the devil, Carnegie Mellon 10-1-2. They're up 2 spots. They had a win against Salisbury, and then like Emory, they close out against Emory, Rochester, and Case. So again, in the conference tournament, it's all gonna flesh out here in these last few games. 13, Pacific Lutheran at the same spot at 11-1-2. They have not played. Number 12, Mary Hardin-Bell are up 2 spots. They are on a 4-game winning streak, including a 1-0 win against Hardin-Simmons. 11, William Smith of Hobart and Smith at 11-1-3. They're down a spot. They tied against Vassar at home. College of New Jersey up a spot at 12-2-2. They bounced back from a tough week to beat New Jersey City University in Jersey City. I didn't realize this, but in all of Division III, TC&J is the 3rd most scoring offense in the country. They have scored 68 goals to date, and they score on average 4.25 goals a game. That's pretty astounding. They rank higher than anybody in the top 25 in terms of goal scoring. So, okay, number 9, Wartburg, 14-0-2, same spot. This is where it all gets same. So, final game on Tuesday at Loras, which I think will be a test for them. Number 8, like last week, University of Wisconsin Lacrosse, the Frozen Tundra, 15-1-1. They're now on an 8-game winning streak. Number 7 at 13-1-2, Messiah. They have wins. They have 3 wins in a row, and they've scored 15 goals and conceded 0. That's just remarkable. That reminds me of when I was a forward and the amount of goals I scored. Not. Okay, number 6, Calvin, 14-0-1, same spot. They've won their last game against Albion. Tied their last game against Albion, and they've only conceded 1 goal all season. Just crazy D. Number 5, Amherst, same spot, 12-2. They defeated Connecticut College and Hamilton away for their 6th straight win in a row. They're 5th and 6th, I guess. Number 4, Case Western Reserve, same spot. And I keep saying, watch out for Case Western Reserve, 12-0. They have their last 2 games against Emory and Carnegie Mellon. So, yeah. Number 3, Johns Hopkins, same spot, 13-0-2. They keep winning in style and scoring goals. They have 2 big challenges coming up: Dickinson away, and then at home against Franklin and Marshall. So, at number 2, and I see the case for number 1, but again, deferring to national champs, Misericordia, 14-0-1, 2 road victories, including at Stevens, and they just really keep imposing themselves at will. It's bizarre. And I will say, freshman Michaela Fausolino, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Michaela. If not, by all means, let me know. She is on track to score a goal a game. That's her average as a freshman. Outstanding. And then finally, like I said, deferring to the national champion, 14-0-1, Christopher Newport University. I'm not sure they have the offensive punch they had last year, but they keep doing it, and they keep doing it in style. So that number one spot is theirs to lose. So as far as I'm concerned, because I think they're also that good. And boy, again, like on the men's side, a final between number one and number two. Actually, in this case, I would say anyone of 1 through 5 would just be crazy. I mean, that might be worth the travel to Roanoke. So, okay. So that's that. I am actually going to run through some stats now that I've sort of dug up, and just because I think they're pretty remarkable. Okay, so I was digging out, finding information, trying to come up with what I would talk about today. And I thought after doing the top 25, obviously, I thought it would be good to talk about some of the outstanding women that are playing the game right now. And I just figured I would narrow it down to the top 5 women scoring goals, giving goals, and then my favorite category, the best goalkeepers. So for goal scoring, let's start with a freshman number at 5 at Northwestern St. Paul, Hallie Mersberger. She has 20 goals, 1.1 goals per game. Number 4, sophomore Beth Cook at Hanover College, 20 goals per so far, 1.3 goals per game. From nearby my house, Bryn Athyn College senior Ashley Rivera, 21 goals, 1.8 goals per game. At Cedar Crest, number 2, Taylor Wolf. She has 24 goals, making it 1.7 goals per game. How would you like that kind of production? Holy smokes. And then the leading goal scorer in Division III soccer at the present moment, Catherine Thompson from Pratt Institute, I believe that is. Isn't it Boston, I keep thinking? 24 goals, 1.9 goals per game. Just remarkable. But to get goals, what do you have to do? You have to pass. Isn't that amazing? Like, that's how goals are started usually. It's through a pass. And, right? I mean, it's remarkable. Did I tell you this channel started because I started counting passes last year? Anyhow, let me not go there. Top assist makers, number 5 from Wisconsin, Platteville, Lydia Smith, 11 assists, so 0.7 assists per game. Number 4, Crystal Kohensky from Fontbonne. She's a senior, has 12 assists, and that's 0.8 assists per game. Peyton McDonnell from Loras, senior, 13 assists, 0.8 assists per game. Number 2, Kylie Hall from Emory, senior. She has 13 assists. That's 1 assist per game. And then the top assist person from JWU in Providence, Jordan Restivo, 18 assists, 1 per game. She's played 18 games. Just remarkable. I mean, you can't deny that, right? And so right there, 11. I mean, you're looking at easily 60, 70 goals were created by five people. Just love it. Okay, best goalkeepers so far. I got to do something here. Okay, best goalkeepers so far. From Trinity, Texas, Lauren Lewis, a sophomore who has only allowed 2 goals all season. 0.2 goals a game is their average. Oh my gosh, this one's going to be hard to pronounce. So I apologize in advance. From Emmanuel, freshman. Oh my gosh. Patricia Kirzyk. Kirejczyzyk. Patricia, I am sorry for butchering that. But you've only conceded 2 goals so far, which is 0.199 goals a game. Nicole Olson, a sophomore, from University of Scranton, allowed 2 goals so far, 0.166 goals a game. Number 2 from Rowan, Callista Burke, a sophomore, with 2 goals allowed, 0.147 goals a game. So less than 0.2 of a goal per game. We're talking about the top 5. I mean, how would you like that, netminder? And then lastly, you should all know who this is going to be because I've been calling it out since the get-go, is Calix Dodge. Did I say the first name correctly? Calix? Or did I type that wrong? Yeah, I don't know. A sophomore has allowed only 1 goal, and she has a 0.067 goals against average so far. I mean, that's just outstanding. So, okay. So with that, I'm just jumping right into the top 25 men's teams. Okay, so let's jump into the men's top 25. So, number 25, I'm getting them back on the board. Wisconsin Eau Claire. They were not rated last week. They dropped out. I dropped them from the top 25 after they had 2 straight losses. But they've come back and they're now on a 4-game winning streak. So I'm giving them little kudos. So at 25th. 24 at 9-3-3, Gettysburg up 1 spot. They beat McDaniel and they beat Haverford. And they're going to have some tests here coming up against Lycoming and Muhlenberg. So that should be interesting. University of Paywall, it's going to cost you $5.95 to find out why they're down 3 spots. Western Connecticut at 16-0-1. Excuse me. Yep. They are... Oh, that's incorrect. They are up 1. They beat Trinity. Babson at 11-3-2, up a spot. They actually had wins against Eastern Connecticut and MIT, and I think based on their schedule, they should be going into the tournament at 13-3-2. So be looking at that. Oof. I think they blew a tire. Hamilton at 8-2-4, down 6 spots. They lost to Bowdoin, and then they tie Williams away, and then they just got manhandled by Amherst. So having a rough go. Number 19, Lynchburg, down 2. I'm starting to think that once you get ranked by Simple Coach in my top 25, it's like a curse, right? They dropped a contest against Guilford, followed by a win at Bridgewater. But the Guilford loss, I mean, how that happens, I don't know. 18, Luther. I like these guys. 9-3-5. Marcos Villa is an outstanding ball player, and you'll hear more about him a little bit. After the loss to Gustavus Adolphus, they had a big tie at Wartburg, and then they beat Central. Number 17, down 2 spots, Clarkson at 8-3-3. They lost at Union, and that that's the type of game they need to take care of. And I think teams that want to stay in these rankings, like they have to clean up those games. The guys who are in the rarefied air, the top tens, they by and large take care of games like that. So, especially late in the season. 16th, you're looking at Bowdoin, 11-1-2, up 5, wins against Colby and Wesleyan. They have a big game this week. I think it's on Tuesday when they travel to Tufts, so I'll be definitely watching that. And no, they're not up 5 because Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain was their president after the Civil War. Number 15, Christopher Newport, down 3 spots at 10-3-1. They lost away to Mary Washington this weekend. They're wrapping up their regular season this at Salisbury, so I think they should be 11-3-1. So, but that loss hurts. Number 14, Franklin and Marshall. That's again incorrect. Up 6. I apologize. At 11-1-4. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and it is like another one. Like I talked about the NESCAC on the women's top 25s and the NESCAC on the men's side, but this Centennial Conference game is going to be a cracker where Franklin and Marshall travels to Johns Hopkins, which with I think the number 1 spot on the line. So that'll be fun. I might even have to travel to that one. 13, North Park at 11-2-2, down 3, a tie at home at Carthage, followed by a loss at home to Wheaton. So we got to get back on track. Number 12, this team, North Central, 13-0-4, up 4 spots. They beat Millikan and Illinois Wesleyan, and then they close out this week against Augustana. So they're doing what they need to do. Number 11, down 3 spots at 12-4-2. Pretty harsh, but they lost pretty soundly against SUNY Oneonta, 3-0. But they did then. I mean, this is where I'm like, okay, only 3, because they beat Brockport in a real solid performance, and they scored 4 goals in that game against Brockport, which is a surprise. Number 10 at 12-1-4, up 1 spot. Montclair State, they're on a 6-game winning streak, although they tied Rutgers Camden over the weekend, but I'm just chalking that up to, they're going to have that. Number 9, Middlebury, down 2 spots. They tied WPI, and then they lost to Tufts. They welcome Williams at the season finale, which, knowing Williams, will probably end up a tie. Number 8, another NESCAC, Amherst, up 4 spots, 8-1-5. They tied Connecticut, and then they just pummeled Hamilton. I will say, I'm not even going to say it. I mean, the fact that I'm not going to say it. Maybe that's a stat for another day, but right now I'll just leave it. Johns Hopkins at 11-0-5 is up in 7th spot. They're down a spot. They had ties at home against Dickinson and then they tied Muhlenberg at Muhlenberg. Although I will say I did like how Johns Hopkins popped in the second half, chasing the game. They were down 2-1. They had an energy about them that I haven't seen most of the season, where they were like, they are getting a goal, and then they finally got it, and then they did what they did, but they were really intentional about getting forward, and I thought that showed quite a bit of maturity from that team to actually go after a game, which, like I said, if you watch them long enough, you don't think they go after the game. They just think it happens. At number 6, Washington and Lee, up 3 spots. They have 3 wins in a row following the 3 ties that they had beginning of the month. So they're at 11-1-4. They're sort of coming back into their own. Again, forced to be reckoned with. I mean, once they get through this tournament, if they get a bid to the NCAAs, if they win the tournament or they get in that large, you don't want to play these guys. Like, I think they have that capability. Are they in tune? It seems like it. But we'll see. Okay, number 5, down a spot. Calvin. They lost to Albion, and then they beat Kalamazoo. They end the season at Olivet. They're at 13-2-2. Was it a hiccup? I don't know. I didn't get to watch that game. I think they probably should have won it, but you'll have that. So they're down because I flipped them with Kenyon at up one spot. They had pretty solid win against Denison, 3-0, and followed by a win away at Hiram, and they lead the NCAC. Number 3 at the same spot. Again, they keep doing it. Won 5 in a row, 13-0-2. Stevens Institute of Technology Ducks. They're doing it. And so, I'm excited for them. At number 2, and I made this case on the boards, University of Chicago, same spot. They beat Case 2-1. It was probably 2-0, but Case got a late goal. They end the season at NYU and Brandeis, which should be interesting. And then they're followed with WashU at home. Now, if they lose one, would that change my ranking? Probably not, because I do think they're at a different level. And then number 1, Messiah, same spot. I've had them since the get-go at number 1. They've scored 16 goals in 2 games, and they end the regular season traveling to Lebanon Valley. Now, and Widener, I'm sorry. And let me just say this. Why some of the logic that I always tried to capture as to why I put Messiah first and Chicago second, and why I've stuck with it. Messiah scores on average 4.27 goals a game. Chicago scores 2.36 goals a game. Defensively, I think defensively Chicago is the best defensive posture has the best defensive posture of any team in the country. They let in half a goal a game. And Messiah, to their credit, only let in 0.533 goals a game. So that's just a hair over half a goal a game. The amazing thing is that you're going to ask yourself, hey, maybe Chicago has a tougher strength of schedule, and Messiah has a easier strength of schedule, especially the 16 goals in the last 2 games. Makes you wonder, or 14 goals, whatever it was. Well, I take a look at that, and this is where, if you haven't looked at the Massey ratings website, if you're a data geek, it's fun to look at. You got to take everything with a little bit of grain of salt, because it's just pure data. There's no, lack of a better term, soccer intelligence into it. Like, hey, why do I think Messiah is a better team, even though they might only be 5th on Massey's rankings? Not that they are, but just as an example. Well, strength of schedule wise, you would think Messiah might have an easier strength of schedule. Based on Massey, they're 12th in the country with the 12th most difficult strength of schedule, behind all but one NESCAC school. I think it's Bates, followed by Mary Washington and someone else I can't remember. So they're 12th. Chicago, you would think, their strength of schedule must be that much harder. They come in at 34th hardest strength of schedule. So again, it's close. No matter how you, and if I were to have to put a money down when they face each other, if they face each other, I don't know how it would turn out. I really don't. But for my book, the numbers outweigh, and the way they play, just the sheer overwhelming soccer that they play, tips it to Messiah. So, with that, let me roll into some other stats that I think are really interesting, just to highlight some of the great ball players that are playing these days. Okay, like I did with the top 25 for the women, I ran through the goal scorers, the goal givers, and the goalkeepers, the best in the country up to this point that I've managed to dig out. So I wanted to do the same for the men because it's pretty neat. I'm like I said, some of these players are, having followed or watched games, I'm amazed by. So, one of my favorites for, let's start with the goal scorers, right? That's gets all the accolades. At number 5, one of my favorite ball players out there um, is Matt McDonald at Messiah University with 16 goals so far this season. In 4th, Ander Castillo, whatever. Medale. I don't know. I'm so bad at these things. 17 goals. In 3rd, Nathan Donovan from Wisconsin Eau Claire at 18 has 18 goals. Number 2 at LaGrange, who just won their regular season, Enrique Hernandez with 18 goals. And then number 1, never would have realized, at St. Joseph's in Brooklyn, Victor Nasi, 22 goals so far this season. Okay, the top 5 assist makers. One of my favorites, porque es español, ¿no? Y es un hincha del Barça. So, Marcos Villa from Luther with 11 assists. Number 4 from Norwich, Amerly Nemai, with 12 assists. Another one of my favorites, Shea Bechtel at St. Olaf. He's at number with 12 assists on the season. At Cairn, Moses Beers with 16 assists. And then the leading assist maker at Wisconsin Eau Claire, Carter Thiesfeld, with 21 assists. So those are the top 5 assist makers. And like I said, on the women's side, they account for 50, 60, 70 goals, those 5 ball players. Just remarkable. Okay, and then the best goalkeepers, which is pretty cool as well. Which, and again, has some pretty represents some pretty big programs, right? Like, so at number 5, a freshman from Clarkson, Carter Kladstrup, who's allowed 3 goals and has a goals against average of 0.375. Out of Montclair State, a senior, Shane Keenan, 3 goals, 0.375 goals a game. Number 3, Bowdoin goalkeeper Michael Weber, senior, with 4 goals, with a 0.31 goals against average. Johns Hopkins goalkeeper Alex Morgret, a senior, with 4 goals a game, 0.268 goals against average. And then another sophomore from Rhodes College, Mitchell Fenton, Three goals all season, 0.24 goals a game. So collectively, they allow less than 0.4 goals a game. So less than half. That's a brick wall. By my definition, those guys are brick walls. Reminds me of me when I was playing. No, but okay. So those are some stats that I dug out. Hopefully, now that I've found them, I sort of know what to look for. I think I'll start playing with it a little bit more. But thanks. Hope you enjoyed the top 25s. And yeah, we're out. Okay. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Around D3. I really do appreciate you taking the time to tune in. Any comments, compliments, criticisms, by all means, down below. I read them all. I try to respond to all of them, except those weird ones that you don't understand what the language is or it's not appropriate. So, really, really do appreciate. I did want to end this one though, again on a bit of sad news that just seems to be all too common these days. I just earlier this week, the head women's coach and associate professor Aaron Marston of the women's soccer team at the University of Maine at Presque Isle passed away unexpectedly, and he was 40 something, I think. Sad news. I don't know what to say to his family, to the Presque Isle community. And my words, no matter what, would fall short, but I do believe in the power of prayer. So if you are like-minded and have a higher power that you talk to, I think his family would be more than grateful for any prayers that you could spare for his gentle repose of his soul. So, Aaron Marston, yeah, I'll just leave it at